Okay, this is an introduction to the macro and keybind mod for Minecraft. This is going to cover the more basic usage for people who may not have used the mod before. So having installed the mod, the very first thing you're going to want to do is set up the keys used to activate it. These will be on the second page listed here, and we've got two keys to activate the mod, which are macro override and macro activate. Macro activate is the one we're going to use to configure and play back on macros. It defaults to apostrophe, which for some reason LWJGL refers to as grave. If you want it on a different key, like for example I personally like it on tab, then you can assign it there. We need to reassign list players now because it's conflicting. But you can set that to any key that you like, and you'll see how that works when we actually go into the game. So the first thing you notice when we actually get in the server is that there's nothing really on the screen to tell us that it's running. That's because it stays out the way until you need it. Now to activate the actual binding screen, you hold down whatever your sneak key is, so you can see we're sneaking, and you press the key that we just assigned to macro activate, which in this case was tab. And you get this binding screen which shows all the macros which you currently have bound. The red keys we'll come to in a minute basically are those which are already reserved, so you can see we've got the wizard cluster, the number keys, and then F keys which are used by Minecraft. And you can still bind these keys, and I'll show you how to use the macro activate function in a minute. For the time being, we're just going to pick a key at random. Let's try G, for example, and as you just see, the prompt says press the macro key to edit, or click a key above. So you can actually just press the key you want. I can just press the G key, and this has put us into the edit macro mode. Now, in the most simple way, you literally just type in what you want it to send as a chat command. So if we type in hello, my typing sucks, and then click save, and we can now see that G is highlighted, and if we hover over it, it says that the macro bound to that key is hello. So if I go back in game, press G, and I say hello. I'm in admin apparently. Anyway, so go back into the binding screen with your key combo, and if we want to edit this macro, if we're in single player commands or one of the other mods that allows you to bind, we'd have to rebind this key, but we can just click on it and then we can edit it. And the other thing is, if you want to bind multiple commands to one key, you can put in a pipe character and then just put in another string and press save. And now when we press G, it says two things. So that's really not that useful unless you have, I suppose you could use it to warn your friends. You could bind a key to watch out, there's a creeper behind you or something like that. But it's far more useful to use slash commands, which are used for a lot of server-side mods and get pretty tedious to type in over and over again. So one of the things that we have running is economy. So if we do /money, you can see that the balance is $30. So if we wanted to bind that to a key, hit the key combo, and let's use U for example, and we can do /money, press save, and now when we press U, we can see that the balance is $30. And actually, I don't actually want that on U, because U is a stupid letter to have that on. It would make more sense to have it on M. Surely it'd be M for money. So I could bring up my bind and then type that in, or I could just click move and drag from U to M, come out of move mode, and now you can see that the money command is on M, and when I press M, it activates race minimap apparently. Now this is one of the things we'll come to in a second, is what happens when you have a conflict with another mod that hooks a key, and that's where the macro override functionality comes in. So we'll rebind that one again to get around the conflict with raise minimap, so we'll move it to, I don't know, K, and now we press K, and it still says balance $30. So that's the most basic usage. What you can also do, which you can't do with other mods, is you can bind keys which are already used. Now these red keys which you'll see highlighted in game, so if we wanted to say some function on 1, let's say we wanted to put that money command on 1, we'll move it to 1, and you can see that it's turned orange, which shows that it's bound but also conflicting with an existing Minecraft key. And if I press 1, obviously nothing happens. If I change weapon, 1 still switches back to slot 1. Now this is what the macro override function is for. If you hold down Control, which we had as macro override, you'll see it's giving us a green prompt at the bottom of the screen which says press a macro key. And what it basically is telling us is that if we press a macro key now, it's going to override what the key is normally bound to. So if I press 1, now it's told me my balance. And you'll notice it doesn't do if I switch to a different slot, press 1 and it switched back. If I hold down Control and press 1, it's telling me my balance but hasn't switched my weapon slot. So obviously this means that you've actually gain access through one simple modifier to the whole of the keyboard. You can also just press Tab alone, and this puts you into playback mode. Notice that the mouse becomes unbound, and I can press 1 then as well. So you can press Tab and 1, or Grave by default, and then you can use that to play back as well. What's even better is if you've got macros which use the scripting functions, pressing Tab will allow you to stop any long-running macros that you've got, so auto announcers, that kind of thing that I'll cover how to do in another tutorial, or auto attack. And that basically gives you a lot of power. The other thing that you can do is actually bind in your macros. You can include parameters which will allow you to dynamically configure bits of your macro. So if we do /list homes, I think it's list homes, yeah, it says I've got 2 homes set. So if I wanted to go to home Darkville, I can type this in rather laboriously, and here I am at my home. Now obviously you'll generally have a list of homes or warp points or whatever that you want to warp to. So rather than having to type those in, if we go back into our configuration panel, and we'll edit this H one. You can see what I can do here is put in, and it's telling us on the screen, use $H to prompt for a home. What this means is it will provide a list of homes that it can insert into the macro. So if we do /home, which is the command to go home, $H. When I press H, I'm presented with a list of homes that I can warp to. Now I can just type that in, so if I type Darkville, then it takes me to that. But what I can also do is pre-populate this list of homes with the ones I've got configured, so I can just type in Darkville, like that. You can override these icons, give it a name. You can change the display name as of 0.7 as well. And now if I just click on Darkville, it takes me back to that set home point. Now, the other thing you can do, if you're running a server-side mod that actually is supported by this mod, you can press H and click Add Home. You can also do Auto, and it will query the server for that using that list homes command. And here it's found the other one that we had, so if we put that into the list, and now click it, and it's warped us to the other home point. So you've literally got one key you can press, shows you a list of homes, you can click to warp to them. So that's obviously quite a time-saving measure, particularly as you can now automatically update it whenever you want. There are other parameters you can use, and if we go back into the help, you can see what those are. So if we did /message, which is a private message to a user, we can use $U, for example, to message that user. And what we want it to do is prompt us for a message to send. Now, you've got 2 ways of doing that. One, you can either give it a named parameter, so you could say message, like this. And when we click save, if I press J, the parameter is hello. And the online user, there aren't any other online users at the moment, so it doesn't actually show anyone. But normally that will show you the same, so just me at the moment online in this server. Normally that will show you the list of online users. The other thing you can do if you want, because that can be a little bit confusing, is just to put $exclamation mark, which basically means it's going to run through this macro from left to right, and when it reaches this $exclamation mark, it will stop and put that in the chat buffer for you. So if we do, if we run J now, then we can select a username or just type in my own name. And notice that we've now got the opportunity to complete the message by and it says hello to me, which is really quite strange. But anyway, so yeah, that basically is how you use parameters. There's a lot more features in the mod. If you check out the other videos, they'll show you how you can use some of the scripting functions. I'm going to do a series of shorter tutorials which show you how to do things like auto walk, things like an auto announcer, and many more things that you can do with the scripting functionality, like automatically placing signs and switching texture packs. But for now, that covers the more basic usage of the mod. Hope that clears it up for a lot of you, and thanks for watching.